As a child, libraries were super important to me. Like, basically because I was homeschooled, the library was my school in a way. My mom and I would go to there multiple times a day. I remember some of my most formative memories are going to storybook sessions and stuff like that in the library, because as a kid who was homeschooled, that's how I was able to interact with other kids in my community, was through the library.
My first real memories of the library as a child was my mother used to take me to the public library all the time, and it wasn't just because of the story times or anything like that. She was a huge reader. So I mean, this woman would go through, I want to say, about 8 books a week. So I remember spending a lot of time in the library as a kid, and so to me it was a place where, you just went, and we didn't, go out a whole lot, so that was a place to go. And I remember the reason why I wanted to become a librarian is I was about 10 years old. We went to the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., and I stepped aside and I said, you know what? Yeah, this is cool. And I decided that's when I wanted to be a librarian. So, I mean, it took me a while to figure out what kind of librarian, but that's about when I wanted to become one. So, a lot of memories as a kid with libraries, a lot of positive memories with my mom and everything like that. So.
When I was a kid, I was actually part of a gardening club that met at the local library, and we would grow little herbs and vegetables, like little sprouts, I guess, in just little cups, but we would keep them there, and we keep them in little egg cartons. And then I had friends that I spent a lot of time with growing up, and we would always go to the library and just spend a lot of time checking out books, get a big stack of them, and read them all together.
Well, pretty much from childhood it had to be book clubs, with the fact that they got, groups of up to 20 or 30 kids reading at once, usually the same book, although, But they would hold seminars and try to get us talking about them and, try to do the whole critical thinking.
I didn't grow up in any kind of public library setting, really. My mom was a total homebody. We stayed home and we had books at home that I read. But my first real love of the library was in elementary school. And our librarian, I don't really remember her specifically, but I just remember it being a really welcome place and always finding something different. We were allowed to just, peruse the stacks and find something, and so yeah, that's really my first. It's just a safe place to go. And
well, when I was a kid, there was no place to read at school. They don't have books at school. So somebody told me to go to the library. First, I developed the need or to do crosswords. I was very interested, and then I started reading books, and the first book I chose to read was one that was very, very hard, the one from Dante Alighieri, that was very interested to me at that time. And then I started reading anything that I can get in my hand to, I enjoy it. And up to now I keep that habit, reading. Not like before, but a little bit now.
When I was young, my favorite memories of libraries were revolved around the school book fair. I didn't really use too many public libraries, but in elementary school, I loved going to the school book fairs.
As a child, I was part of a daycare, and once a week we would visit the local library and watch educational videos, Bill Nye, things like that. And we got to check out one book, which we would return the next week and get to do the cycle over again. But every week we would review the book that we checked out. It was really neat.
So growing up without television, without internet, the library was everything that we had, and opened our views towards the world. We got there everything, and we loved the smell of the old books and the way that the librarian took our names, put a stamp on the book. When we have to return it, we had to take care of it. So everything, all our life was there, and we loved reading.
Early memories of the library as a child were a little bit more unorthodox. I was an avid reader, and so I did read a lot of traditional books, but the first time I really had a day-to-day or weekly experience with my local library was when I got into graphic novels. and the Tampa and the Hillsborough Public Library happened to have a rather large graphic novel collection. So basically, while I was being told to read things of more, more traditionally academic nature, I was just busy reading Spider-Man, and so I think that was a great place, at least in terms, because I'm a proponent of the art, like the artistic or the cultural value of graphic novels, and so and they're rather expensive. So for children between the 12 or between like the 10 to 16-year-old range, where they may not have a job to pay for these particular types of books, the library is a great place for that. And so I'm kind of a proponent of having like libraries that service the patrons in methods other than supplying books, like your traditional novels. And so that's pretty much my early memories. Reading countless comic books and tutoring sessions at the Tampa Library.
The first memories for my library experiences as a child actually started in first grade. Due to physical disabilities, I was blessed to work with a nun in the Catholic school system, and from first grade through 8th grade I got to kind of shadow at first Sister Margaret Mary in the Catholic school system, and she taught me from a very young age how to first take care of books, then file books, and then by the 8th grade how to order books. So I was very blessed into the library system, and I love her and taught me how to love books, to appreciate books, and it also enhanced me as a teacher to have my own library in my classroom.
My memories of libraries as a child were that I used to go to the kids section all the time, and I actually found my favorite book there, the Rainbow Fish. And I love that book, and I think the thing is it got me started reading really young, and I've been doing that ever since then.
So the first library I remember going to was here in Tampa, since I grew up here, and it's the one downtown. I wanted to get a book on making marionettes because I'd seen a public show that one of my older cousins put on. And it was really neat going through the stacks and finding all of these different books. But the best part is, unfortunately, I still have the book, so this is probably not the best thing to say on a video about libraries, because I never returned it. But it ended up being a great way for my dad and I to bond over this book that making marionettes. The marionette is still not finished.
We are talking about in 1980s when I was a child. It's just more than 35 years ago. The most important memory for me for the library is the smell of the books. I still can remember that. It's particularly in the summer section for my when I after school summer program. My mom always carry a high rack of books, just non-stop reading for one night for those history books and novel, just like a chick licks, ladies chick licks novels. And I just remember I can, can really make my inspire me imaginations and feel mature and understand how people's thinking.
Before high school, the library was a place where if you want to escape the gym or any other classes that you did not like, the library was the place to go. Meaning that where you hide, take a book and you hide from the teachers, from the students or anyone else. And I use that quite often because I did not like to attend the courses that ask us to run around the university, running around the school or playing basketball or football. I hated doing so. So library was the place for me to hide. So that was my first memory of library.
Well, my first memory of libraries as a child was I was probably in like 3rd grade, and this brand new library opened up right next to my elementary school, and we all went on a field trip to this library, my whole class, and got a tour of it with the librarian. And I just remember being in awe at the size of this. It was like the biggest building I'd ever been in, and there was like so many different things to look at. And after that point, like for years afterwards, I would go to that library at least one day a week and pretty much spent hours just looking at the different books. So libraries have been a big part of my life.
I was a bit of a problem child, and I ended up in the school library most often because I was boarding class, not academically challenged, and so I would have myself thrown out so that I could spend time in the library. So how about that?